All right, we're now joined by our race-winning driver of today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race, Connor Zilisch. You just made your NASCAR Xfinity Series debut, and you won your NASCAR Xfinity Series debut. Can you just take us through your race from your perspective and what this means to you?
Yeah, it's hard to put into words how much this meant to me. I worked so hard for this race. I've been preparing for it for over 3 months now, and outside of the 24, this is probably the biggest race of my year of this year for me. So to come out here and do that and just prove to myself that I can do it and I can compete in the highest level is special to me. You know, it's hard to judge how good I am when I'm racing in ARCA, and you know, people say, "Oh, you're racing against nobody," but I mean, there was 5 Cup guys out there today, and it's just a sense of relief knowing that I can compete against those guys.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. We'll start with Davey, and then we'll go to Jeff and Nathan.
Hey, Connor. Davey Siegel with Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Congrats. A lot of questions. But you mentioned, I mean, you've won the Rolex this year. People would look at it and say, wow, this is the biggest win of your career. It might not be. You probably already have some unrealistic expectations on you. How do you deal with that moving forward, especially given that you just went 1 for 1? I mean, people are going to be expecting a lot out of you. How do you deal with that, and what do you kind of think for yourself moving forward?
Yeah, I think I carry the same approach, that don't really put expectations on myself and just prepare for every race like it's the most important race of my life. And then, you know, when it comes time to it, just, you know, brush it off like it's nothing. And that's kind of what I did today. And, you know, I got that penalty and went to the tail and, you know, thought my race was over, but you know, was able to save enough fuel there to make it to the end, and you know, held him off on those restarts to get the win. So yeah, I mean, it was tough. You know, the expectations are the biggest thing, and mental is so much at the highest level. Everybody out here has talent, and everyone out here can win races. It's just a matter of, you know, who can be the mentally strongest in these races. And you know, I've got a lot of great people that are supporting me and help make that a lot easier for me.
Cup drivers coming to victory lane and congratulate you. Noah was on the pit box during the race. SVG kind of joked that you should be in a Cup car tomorrow just to see what you could do. What does it mean to have the support from a lot of those guys and gals that are already very experienced and in positions that presumably you want to be in one day?
Yeah, it means the world. Ross on pit road was like more excited for me than I feel like I was. He's been, you know, he's become close friends with me and has been a big part of you know, someone I can lean on and ask for advice. And it was cool to share that moment with him on pit road and have him there by my side. So yeah, Noah as well. Noah's become close with me and someone I can ask advice, because he's been in this exact same situation before, racing for Junior Motorsports, being a rookie. And you know, it just means a lot to have all those guys. SVG, he let me buy in the race, and it's cool to have respect from those guys. And you know, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, these guys that I've been watching for the last 4 or 5 years kick ass in the Cup Series, and you know, now they're coming up and congratulating me. It's hard to believe, but it means a lot to me.
I'm just curious about the fuel savings that all went into this. Like, I mean, they were coaching you hard, and it sounded like there's a couple times when I don't know if you didn't know the whole picture, but you know, you're like, I could go 2 seconds faster than this if you need me to. What was your mindset during that point? I mean, are you just like, this is extreme? Like, why do I have to be doing this? And have you had experience, you know, with that degree of fuel saving in anything before?
Yeah, I think actually, I don't think I would have been able to do that had I not raced the prototype that I raced in IMSA, because that's almost half the battle is fuel. You know, you're trying to get that extra lap and you know, stretch out the stint. And I kind of learned everything that I did today through my team, Air Motorsports, and the LMP2 car. And, you know, I was lifting at the flag stand into one, and I was lifting probably 2 football fields before the 600 board in the bus stop, and rolling third gear through the bus stop, never went down to second, and just trying to, you know, do those things that I know that I have done before. And you know, it's cool because I've had data in that car on my screen, so I see, you know, when I save half a liter of fuel in the prototype, and I have a bar every lap that I'm chasing. So that kind of was running in the back of my head. I don't have that in the car, in the Xfinity car, but I kind of have an idea of what lifting 100 feet earlier does, and that's kind of given me that baseline of how to save fuel, and I was able to save enough today. So I was just trying to match the pace of the guys behind me. I didn't want to be too much faster than them, and I didn't want to be too much slower than them. So I was kind of just listening to the lap times behind me and kind of backing up my pace to them.
Nathan Solomon, Speed Sport. Connor, with that penalty, I mean, all three of you got hit with that penalty. I mean, you and Sam and Ty. Ty went first. I mean, I'm just curious kind of what you were thinking then when you saw, or when you heard the caution came out and then saw Ty kind of cut through there.
Yeah, it was dumb of me. But honestly, I just thought, if Ty and Sam, I thought they just knew better than me, and I should have known better. But, I thought those guys who've been racing in this series for a few years would have been doing the right thing. So I was like, okay, I'll just follow them and try to act cool. And then I was at the tail of the field. But honestly, it was a blessing in disguise because it put us in our window and got us to the end of the race. And then they were telling me to pit the lap before, like right after that, they were telling me to pit. And I was like, I'm just going to follow them. I didn't listen to them. And honestly, that was a blessing in disguise too, because that got me one more lap around. So a lot of things that probably shouldn't have gone my way went my way today. And, thankful that it all worked out.
And I believe you're the first National Series driver to win the pole in their debut and then also win the race in their debut. I'm just curious your reaction to that, and is that kind of surreal?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's so many guys. Every NASCAR driver's made a debut at least once, so pretty cool to have that. That's I didn't know that, but that's cool.
We'll go to Dustin Albino next.
Dustin Albino, NASCAR.com. Congrats, Connor. You hear drivers, and kind of off Davey's question, but you hear drivers like label you as like the next superstar. What's that mean to you when you hear that?
It's cool to have people tell me that, but the biggest thing is I have to stay true to myself and understand that, I'm not at the highest level yet, and I'm not winning at the highest level yet. So until I'm doing that, I'm not going to label myself a superstar. So still got a long road ahead of me and a lot of races ahead of me. So I try not to let what people say, good or bad, get to me and affect how I prepare for races and how I show up to the racetrack and race. And, it's great having all those people behind me saying good things, but at the same time, I still got to show up and do my job every week. And no matter how many people say you're good, if you don't, go win races, you're not good.
And aside from the penalty, Josh Wise told me last week that he wants you to make mistakes in these 4 races. Outside of the penalty, do you feel like you made any mistakes today?
There was a few. Looking back on it, it's all kind of been a blur, but that penalty was the biggest mistake. And I told myself today, all right, no penalties, just, clean race. And kind of frustrating that happened, but all worked out in the end. So I honestly can't go back and think of anything that I could have done better at this point. Maybe could have gotten through traffic a little better at times, and maybe raced my teammates a little better. But still, I feel like for the most part, I kind of executed my job and executed the whole race.
Dale Earnhardt with FrenchChurch.com. Connor, so when you woke up this morning for today, what was like the first thing that popped in your head? What was your general mood when you got out of bed?
Excitement. The first thing is excitement. Obviously nerves are a big thing. But I tried to just not have nerves today. I just wanted to enjoy it. And, as long as I'm doing my job and executing and just enjoy myself, that the results will come. I knew I was going to be fast. I knew I was going to have speed to compete, but I didn't expect to be that fast. So it was cool to have that speed. But yeah, when I woke up this morning, it was just another race day. I don't treat any race differently. I prepare for every race like it's my last. And, obviously this one had a little bit more excitement behind it, but at the end of the day, it's just another race.
Go to Dustin Long next, and then Bob.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Connor, you had a 20-plus minute red flag to sit there and think or not think, ahead of that big moment. So what are you doing in the car for 20 minutes so close to your first victory and your first start?
Joking around on the radio, just trying to not think about it too much, honestly. The more you overthink, the more likely you are to make a mistake. So I was asking about, I'm a Florida Gator fan, so I was asking about the score of the Florida-Texas A&M game and asking who was on the pit box to see if Noah was still up there. And I was asking why he didn't wear my bright orange shirt today because I know he bought one, so I was kind of upset about that. But, I was just trying to not to, focus too much on, what am I going to do on this restart, because anything can happen. You're not going to predict what's going to happen, and the more you think about it, the more likely you are to make a mistake. And I've done that in the past, and I've learned from that. So, I was just trying to think about stuff off topic and not really, let my brain stew and what's going to happen in turn one when we go back green.
And how did you become good friends with Noah? And I know he talked about how much it meant to him, when he was in Cup there for that spell, that, you were always coming by and being a part of his life and still being around him, because it got pretty dark at times for him.
Yeah.
How did you become a friend of his, and why were you coming over there so often at that point?
Yeah, we became friends through Chevy. We were Chevy teammates there for a while. We worked out together, and he's been, a lot of people say good and bad things about Noah, but he's been one of the best people to me, and has always treated me well. I know I'm 5, 6, 7 years younger than him, but he treats me like his brother, and it's so great. Him, Zane Smith, Todd Gilliland, all those guys, I spend a lot of time with them, and it's cool to have older people like that who kind of take you under their wing, and guys that have been successful in the past, and Noah's been huge for me. He's one of my best friends at this point, and someone that I just respect the hell out of. And he's been through the ups and the downs, and I wouldn't leave him through the downs after everything he's done for me. He's done a lot for me. So it was cool to see the person he is from when I met him 3 years ago to today. He's a completely different human, and he's definitely changed for the better, and I'm glad that I've seen it and been through it with him.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. If you didn't win the race, like if something crazy happened on that last restart, would you have been happy with today?
I kind of go back to Coda. It's like, if something happens, like I executed. If it was in my control, I would have been upset. If it was out of my control, I probably would have said, well, that's racing. I was really worried because I was stumbling out of the S's, like when you got leaned over on the right there, coming out of the S's, and the pickups on the left, and I was like, with 2 to go, I stumbled. I was like, fuck, I don't know how I'm gonna make it back around. So, I was glad that I was able to get back around and see the white, and then that caution came out and gave me a few corners to kind of coast to the finish. So, it was stressful. I can't lie, and but I knew if I did everything in my control and everything Josh has told me and everyone around me has told me, if something out of my control takes me out of the race, then that's racing. And I told him, I was like, we are not pitting right here. I didn't want to say I promised I save enough fuel because I didn't want to jinx myself, but I knew how much fuel I was saving, and I felt confident that I could go another one.
Everybody knows how strong you are on road courses. What would be the expectation for how many races on ovals will it take before you win?
That's a tough question to answer. I want to get up to speed fast. Oh, I'm getting a call from Dale. Hey, what's up? I'm in the media center. Oh. Yeah, I got you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Dale. It's cool. It's really cool.
Don't leave anything on the table.
Thank you. I appreciate everything you've done for me. It's a pleasure to be racing for you guys.
It's been awesome to get to know you, man. You're an awesome dude, great driver, but you're a great person too, man. I'm looking forward to next year and how you're going to represent us, and I love that we get to be a chapter in your story, man. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you calling.
You betcha, man. I was at a friend's wedding, or I'd be there with you.
All good. I appreciate it.
Yeah, tell everybody there I said hello.
I will. Thank you. They all said hi. I think I can pick up the phone for that one.
So you were like, what's your
Oh yeah, ovals. I don't really set any expectations. Sorry, I don't really set any expectations for myself. I have 3 races this year, no pressure. Might be pressure on the outside, but for me, I don't put any pressure on myself. Not racing for a championship. Just want to go out and run all the laps at 3 racetracks that are a lot different and unique, and it's going to be cool to kind of experience those and just get to run those laps. I got to be ready for Daytona come next year, and it's not going to be easy, but I know that I've got a lot of great people around me to help make it possible and help make this transition seamless. Obviously, in ARCA this year, I've gotten better with every race on the oval, so if I continue to do that in the Xfinity Series, I have no doubt that I'll be competitive by race 15 or 16 and be ready for the playoffs next year.
Go next to Chris Knight.
Chris Knight at Trends.com. Connor, how you celebrate your first Xfinity win? What will you do tonight? Are you hanging out in Watkins Glen, or are you going back to North Carolina?
I was supposed to fly home, but I'm going to stay here tonight and kind of just enjoy this one. It's rare you get to experience moments like this, and if I can spend time off a plane, then I'm going to do that. So, yeah, I'm going to stay here for another day and cheer on my Trackhouse teammates. Ross got the pole for tomorrow, so kind of incentivizes staying for another day, and hopefully I can cheer for him like he cheered for me today.
Thanks.
Any final questions for Connor? All right, we'll go to Philip up here on the right.
What's so funny over there?
Hi, Connor. Phil Alloway at Front Stretch. Couple of things. First off, as we mentioned, we had the red flag and the GWCs. What are your thoughts about the way that some of these races kind of devolve at the end into chaos?
Yeah, I was expecting chaos, and we went 3 wide there into 1 a little bit with AJ, and obviously last year's restart was pretty hectic, but I feel like I had good guys behind me that were going to respect me, and I don't have a past with any of these guys, so if they were going to do something, they were going to set the precedent for the future, and I think everyone understands that, and we can all respect each other for that. But I was glad to get through those restarts clean. I knew as long as I got off of 1, I was fast enough, I was going to be able to drive away and get a gap by the top of the S's. So really just had to I don't want to say my corner everyone on the outside of me, but just kind of my cornered them and made turn 1 mine. So it was stressful, but no doubt that I had a lot of kind of practice looking back on all the races and practicing in sim on restarts and whatever it may be. I felt comfortable in those situations.
All right, and you mentioned that a lot of what you've learned with fuel mileage came from your time with Aero Motorsport, which you will be returning to next weekend in Indianapolis. Just what goes into actually saving fuel in an LMP2 car, and can any of that actually transfer to an Xfinity car?
Yeah, 100%. It's the same concept, just different. I was just lifting and coasting before the brake zone, and then I'd brake, 3 markers deeper since I was going a little bit slower. So it's the same thing that I've been practicing all year in the LMP2 car, and I'm glad I got to put it to use in NASCAR.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in, and congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. Gator fan, both my parents. My mom was a gymnast there, and both my parents met there, so I've been a Gator fan since I was a kid.
I'm from Florida.
Oh, yeah?
But I'm a Seminole. Just like most Gator fans? Yeah, exactly.
What are you?
Exactly my point.
No, just I lived in Florida for 12 years. And
No, they're not. We're not obnoxious Gator fans, I don't think. I hope not.
They're pretty sad Gator fans.
Yeah, right now we are.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.